Welcome to Reality After Show, coverage of the Challenge All-Stars 4. Today we're talking episode 7. I'm Dan Montchal, joined as always by Alex Trias, Lauren Pratt, Alex Lauren. How are you two doing today?
Doing better than Brad.
Most people are doing better than Brad.
Yeah, I think everyone could pretty much say that. But yeah, this episode, middle of the road episode for the middle of the season, so it's on par, I would say.
So, Alex, you brought up Brad. I had a question I was going to say for the end. Let's just throw it out there right now. When we were talking episode 1, I believe you were the one that threw it out there of who's more likely to potentially win another final. Is it Brad or is it Darrell? And I believe both of you sided with it's Brad, where I said Darrell.
I still stand by it.
That's what I just wanted to ask. Seeing what happened this season, do you stand by your answer?
Everyone has a fluke season.
That's completely fair. It happens. I mean, even the best.
The issue is
the Bananas, the Caras, like they've all had that bad season.
Yep.
Yeah, the issue is it's like we've seen Darrell get to the dance and lose multiple times now. We've only seen Brad get to the end. It was in All-Stars 3. He gets second to a West that just has like an adrenaline rush to him. All the slow montages of him on a treadmill really motivated him to that win. But like Brad was right there. He wasn't that far behind. Like I would say he was more competitive than Darrell was in the other All-Stars finals against a better competitor in West. So I stand by it.
I think I figured out what Brad's problem is. And he mentions it briefly here in this episode. No, it's not the beard. He's had this for a while and he's never tapped into it. Just go out there and throw out 50 confessionals about how you're playing for your kids. And that seems to work well for everyone else.
He tried in this episode. It just did not pay out for him.
It didn't hit for him. But I will say, I also agree. I still think Brad would be the one over Darrell. And, everyone deals with underlying factors. And I read a little bit of the scoop with Brad entering into the season. He had a lot of different variables coming in, which isn't an excuse for how it panned out for him in the game. But still, having in the back of your mind stuff that's going on at home or was going on at home and entering in the season, not fresh, not ready to go, that definitely can hurt you.
He had a lot of those cracked out Instagram videos. I don't know if this was around the same time all this was happening or not, but whatever was going on, there was definitely something happening.
Yeah, it's what my good winner pick JGM TV says. Like he was mad at the world. You have to be in the zone or you're gonna lose.
He's looking good right now, Alex. I'll give you that.
Hey,
how's he getting a star?
Hey, maybe he should just not try during one of these dailies and instead of getting second and third, put himself in the bottom so that he can go get a star.
He could have had a chance in this elimination that we had.
Yeah, anyone could have, except
that's what I mean. He just can't have a headbanger. If he doesn't have a headbanger, I think he has a shot.
His headbanger, it even depends against who. I mean, I don't think I'd pick him against Ryan or Derek, but I wouldn't be surprised if he beat either of them. Same with Ace. Like, What has Ace done that makes me think that he's ever going to win an elimination?
Sleep.
That, the only thing that Ace would be well at is it wasn't even an elimination, but it's going back to, I don't know, it was one of the gauntlets or the dailies, but where they're high up on the platform and their heartbeat needs to get below like a certain beats per minute in order for them to fall. Ace would be great at that because he'd just fall asleep. But
sure.
Absolutely. Oh, and you know what? That's another reason why Ace would not do well in most finals because of the no sleep portion.
Well, he's going to sleep.
He would quit. It's like, I'm sorry, sleep's more important.
But do we think we've seen it before where they are out in the cold for the entire night and some of them are barely able to sleep? Do we think Ace sleeps in that scenario?
Yeah.
First one to sleep.
There you go. So he does get his a little bit of rest in if it is tailored to that.
No. Yeah. This dude is literally just an enigma on the show. Just like he is in this house, but he is not playing this game.
After this episode, I just want him to tell me more bedtime stories. But we'll get there. We'll start from the top. Episode 7, we get the previously on where Nicole is just checking out her large picture of herself, really feeling it. And then we mostly get a narrated previously on by Handjob Steve.
And you know what? Good on them. That was that. I was mad the other week when they didn't have Kifla do any of the talking and they just had Rachel do it. I now understand why. Because when you're in a scenario where a Nicole is one of the winners, you can't really rely on her to be good at speaking.
I saw someone post something. I don't know if it was Twitter, Reddit, or wherever, but they're just, whenever I see Nicole, I just picture it's like the Homer Simpson of like in their brain. It's just the monkey with like the bells clapping. And every time I see Nicole now, that's all I can see.
How many times do you think they had to run it back though?
I mean, all she had to say is she beat Jasmine, which also it's production realizing they fucked up too. I'm sure they even could have made a change as soon as this past week where they ignored the complete fact of Nicole going down and then Veronica. Yeah, I'm going to see. Yeah, no, I still don't like Veronica. They ignore all of that and they just do that. And then I went down and called my shot against Jasmine and won. I'm like, did you though? Did you?
At least the only thing that I will say is I was worried about it because agreed that was, glossing over what happened. And so the first thing that happens is Adam talks about wanting to get his star back. But the second person we do see is Veronica. And she was tooting her horn a little bit there, but I was at least happy that either she dialed it back or production dialed it back for her, because I was expecting it to be way more over the top than what it was. Just, one of the greatest strategic moves in challenge history. And luckily we had none of that.
You see, I watched this today and I recall Adam saying he wanted his star back. I do not recall ever seeing Veronica. I have just tuned her out of the show.
She was there. It wasn't long. And you may have been seen more is the next thing we see is it's more of the heartfelt moment. We're back to Adam and Ryan talking that COVID was really difficult for him and he was doing a lot of self-medicating, but he's been sober now for 8 months and kind of just letting us in on the journey that he's going through.
Good on him. Being sober in a challenge house cannot be saying it cannot be easy is an understatement, because what else is there to do? You do a challenge, you do a daily, you do your confessionals, you're just there to eat, drink, work out, maybe if you're Brad, snuff some pre-workout at some point. There isn't much for you to do outside of just drink.
And you can only sit in the pool for so long too, so you have to find different activities.
You go on the swing and do your slow-mo montage like Laurel did.
Yeah, fair enough. But awesome for him. Good for him though, at least.
Well, you don't do a solo shot in the sauna, Dan.
You don't get any shots.
You need another person right there with you. Always with two. Yeah, so I'm happy for him. I think it's great to see him back. He looks, in my opinion, awesome this season so far with what he's been able to produce thus far. And I think he has a legitimate chance to maybe snag himself a star and see a final, but we have to wait on him a little bit longer. But it's tough. I think you got to get lucky to get that star. And if you don't get into the elimination to earn it, I don't think he's going to get first place and put himself in, is what I'm saying. I think he's going to end up being on a bottom and getting into an elimination.
We'll see, because I feel like now in this episode in particular, they're really starting to now put more hammer over the head on us of this isn't too early anymore. Everyone keeps saying it's too early. We have Cara say at the very end of the episode, everyone's still saying it's too early to go get started. We're already past the halfway point. not too early to get a star anymore. I understand the trepidation, I'm not sure because then it puts a target on me, but Ryan has had this almost happen to him on the island. He gets his key at the very end, but it almost happened to him where he was on a season where you needed a requirement to do the final, and the people who didn't, that were still in the game, had to just watch the other people compete.
No, you're right. He was almost in that situation. And I think that's another way of tweaking it, because we talked all the way back in episode 1 of, similar to bringing the skull twist back. And this is like a variation of it. But I think what you need to complete it is don't have it go on for so long that everyone gets a chance. I firmly believe there needs to be a cutoff date of, hey, I warned you, you needed to get a star. You didn't get it. Tough shit. We're going to the final now. You can't compete in it.
And then the rest of you are eliminated from the competition. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. I would love that.
Which we know this season is 12 episodes. So we are past the halfway point in terms of what we're viewing. We probably have 3 episodes left of just normal eliminations. If not 4, it depends on if they do a 1 episode final again or if they do a 2-parter. Mm-hmm. Regardless, we can only assume that there's at most 3 women eliminations left and 2 guy eliminations left, something along those lines. The space is limited, folks. The moves need to happen.
Yeah, I think that makes sense, because even if you were doubling up, I couldn't imagine that you would do doubling up the rest of the way, because we're at an odd number. So my guess would be we have one more episode somewhere where it's just solely a female elimination and the rest of them are doubled up. But even if you do that, that's still leaving leftovers that aren't going to be able to go get their star or get screwed at the last second because someone wins an elimination, steals a star, and there's nothing they can do about it because they don't have a chance to go back and get it.
Well,
right.
Shit.
I'm curious to know y'all's thoughts on who you think is going to miss the opportunity to go in and compete to get their star.
Ryan.
I think it's going to be Derek.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, I also thought
the guys, it's easier to predict than the women, because it's we don't even know. I can't really picture who's going to be remaining of the women, since it's just higher caliber. You could potentially see an Avery in that situation.
I could even see
never goes back in.
I agree with you on Avery. I could even see is Flora really going to see an elimination? She has someone all over her that's just, okay, Flora, you can go home now.
I would want to go against Flora is where I see her potentially going into an elimination if someone has the numbers where they can get their people to vote them in from the middle group to go against her to compete and beat her.
That's true. It's possible. I think you're right, Alex. I think Avery would be a likely candidate for that.
But hey, don't count Flora out. She is an underdog, just like her daughter, who faces tennis players 10 times her size.
I never get why that's brought up. As a tennis player, I'm constantly playing people that are taller than me. Never made a damn difference. But, she's drawing in on that from power from her daughter.
And she'll only have it once.
We do have a little bit of Flores. So first we have, man, we're getting some really weird Ace stuff. He's just stroking Brad's ego here of oh, you're Superman.
That's
There's
Steve's
nothing
job.
you can't do. Well, Steve has more of the stroking, just not of the ego, just other things. But Ace is really hyping up Brad, where Flora is the one that points out, be like, this is odd. Ace doesn't talk to anyone. All he does is sleep and just, says that it's Car's puppet, but it's just Car is one person. How many puppets can you really have?
And
if everyone hates her.
Yeah, if everyone hates her, Flora, aren't you just a puppet for Cam? And at the time for Jasmine and Nicole? You're a puppeteer or you're a puppet? Are you a puppeteer? No. Then wait till someone moves your strings.
Right. Everyone in the house has somebody there that's for them. And yes, there's smaller groups. There's maybe a little bit of a bigger group, but everyone still has somebody in the house that they can rely on, they can count on, that they know is going to have their back still.
And also, shouldn't Flores be spending more of her time being mad at Nicole for breaking the deal that she negotiated between Nicole and Jasmine? Like, Cara didn't make Nicole switch that decision.
I can only imagine that Flora, I think she kind of used all of her good sound bites early on in the season. So now I really think we're piecing some stuff together for, oh, Cara's puppet. Yeah, we can use this right here. It's quite possible.
You're just saying they're putting in the fillers now at this point.
Yeah, I think we used all of her best material. I don't even think producers were expecting her to be around till episode 7, but who knows? Maybe we'll see a resurgence from Flora. But before going to the daily, we do see more of Brad talking about how he was doing so well in All Stars 3, which he was. He was winning a lot of the dailies, and now he can't seem to catch a break. Fast forward, we go to the daily. It's trivia, and no one wants to partner with Brad.
That was great.
And no one wants to partner with Flora. Like, Flora seems to just brush that aside as to why she ultimately partners up with Brad. It's just like, everyone else already partnered up. Like, you're the two people no one wanted to partner with for trivia, so here you go. It is what it is.
Do you think those two are the worst options for trivia?
I think Flora is.
Yeah, because people really don't know what she has. Other players, you've seen them on previous seasons, what they can and cannot do with trivia. So, I think that's why people really picked their matchups that way, because of what you've seen previously. For her, you don't know what she has.
And like, you have Brad, who's just in multiple challenges in a row now, has had like just brain farts. So I'm like, so at this point in time, Brad is probably the worst person you can partner with for a challenge that involves you being, I'm not even going to say smart, but I will, you know what? I'll say smart, because this, outside of a few easy spelling things in here and one very easy question regarding the most recent elimination matchup, I actually liked that it wasn't just like generic trivia, that it was actually about stuff, for the most part, about the season. But also, if you have someone who can't spell authority, that's not great.
Well, this is why you don't want Brad, because with Brad and trivia, I go back to his where TJ said throne, and he even gave them both options, like, the throne that you'd sit on or throwing a ball. And he spelled something that was neither of those two and got it wrong.
Well, to be fair, at least he can get on the platform.
That's fair. There's low bars.
Another person I would not want to be partnered with would be Nicole, just based on knowledge.
Like, she should have been a persona non grata for this daily. Just be like, let her sink.
Yeah, so for this, it's called Face the Facts. You're going in 2 different kind of heats, go up in pairs. It's first to have 3 strikes. If you're one of the first 2 pairs off, you're in the losing group. If you stay up there, you go to the winning heat, where winner is obviously the winners and safe, and the rest makes up the middle group.
Mm-hmm. I guess it makes sense to do it that way. I hate when they do tiered versions of shit, when it's a competition that can easily have everyone go at the same time.
Agreed. Yeah, there was no reason to kind of do the 2 heats for trivia.
Like, I guess they were just like, oh, we only have enough in our budget for 1 crane that can hold 4 groups. We couldn't get the second crane involved as well.
Especially because what we haven't seen in a while, where I think it helps with these type of eliminations where you're going to do it all at once, is give whoever wins the elimination or wins the daily, like, power for an order. That way that still matters. And all right, you don't like Cara if you're the rest of the house, well, you can put her first. That way she has, the most opportunity to get questions wrong right off the bat.
I'd put her in the middle. I want her to consistently be going. If you put her at the ends, you only have to go once, and then you get to wait forever
Well, no. So I was saying because I feel like when it was done by order, it wasn't a snake where it wrapped back around. Like you were just continuously going down the line.
Okay. It feels like
But-
they were. I like they obviously were editing through because it felt like they were just like making up their mind as they went between snaking or not snaking. So I have to imagine they just didn't show a bunch of other questions pop up.
Right, because
Uh,
sometimes they would ask back to back. You know what I'm saying? They would
Mhm.
go and then they would ask the same team another question right away. But then sometimes it wasn't like that. It was just going straight.
But you know who's growing on me a little bit? Steve.
I love him.
Like I'm starting to like laugh a little more when he's doing his confessionals. Like they're not really funny, but there's something about it that just makes me laugh every single time he starts talking in his confessional. So I'm pleasantly surprised.
His whole narrating before getting flung off with Cam was perfect. She's like, "I'm sorry." He's like, "It's okay."
It was like he was just like trying to do this very bad, low budget soap opera bit in there, and I'm just like, I'm sort of for it for the challenge. Like this is perfect for me. I'm
It
sorry.
hit.
I know.
It was good. I thought it hit right on the spot for it. We've seen Steve a couple times, but I think obviously this is his best showing, and we're getting more out of him, more confessionals, more what's going on in Steve's head.
You would have thought prior that we needed more of what's going on in Steve's head, but what's going on in Steve's head, pretty entertaining.
Yep.
Yeah, because we spend a lot more time thinking about what's happening in his hands.
Don't worry, he's still got the hand jobs. He's
No,
just a total package.
I thought they were gonna make more of a thing about it in the intro where they have Nicole give him a fist bump. And he like just shakes it off because Nicole's so strong. I wanted to be like, oh no, I need to check to make sure you didn't damage any of my knuckles there. It's my money makers.
So the first heat goes. It's Brad and Flora. They're out first. Shocker. Brad continues to suck. And then Cam and Steve, as we mentioned, out next. So that left Cara and Ace, and then Derek and Tina moving on to the winners heat. We start to see the second heat go. There's your boy Alex J talking about how he wants to defend his trivia title.
8 years.
We get the flashback, and all I can see is I'm like, man, he needs to bring that tongue ring back.
That tongue ring. I remembered he had it, but because he doesn't have it anymore, having that pop up in the flashback like took me back real quick. I'm like, oh yeah, he did have that. And I just love that they didn't even give him like a question where it was like, oh, I knew this 100%. It was just like, where are these? I don't fucking know. Your feet?
He's looking at his feet. Yeah.
Yes, you're right. No, but he's there to reclaim his crown. But I'm like, if you wanted to reclaim your crown, like, I know Nicole's your friend, you're number one in the game, but like, there's other options.
To be fair, he won trivia with Jenna.
I mean, but it also felt like, even though like it felt weird in this one where I couldn't quite tell if they were forced to have like each of them like go back and forth between being the person who answers or if it was a choice. Because there's certain opportunities there where I'm like, oh, they're having Nicole answer. Why are you having Nicole answer? And then there's times where like Brad is like talking to Flora being like, oh, I need you to answer this one real quick instead of me. So I couldn't quite tell if it was they could just have a group decision, just one person had to say, or if they had to go back and forth with it. Because I'm like, in a world where it's not back and forth, there's no chance I'm ever letting Nicole speak.
I think they could collaborate with each other. I think they could talk through the answer, and then I believe anyone could say it. Because if you look at Derek was saying a lot of the answers.
Mm-hmm. That's how I understood it. But you brought up something else, Alex, that I was kind of brushed over to go back to is Brad's mental, like he's just so broken right now of having Flora, like you need to say how we're going to spell this because I can't have another question wrong. Like Brad's just destroyed right now.
Yeah, he's not in the right headspace for this game.
Mm-mm.
He was there for the first game, and I think that's all adrenaline. And then ever since then, he has not been that guy.
No, you're absolutely right. It's
the beard.
Yeah, it is the beard. Not much.
When you have to tie the beard, and it's not a dread beard style like our boy Matt Bischoff. You gotta cut it off. You trim it. Do something. It looks bad. Like,
though, I don't think he's gonna touch it until he wins again.
They let him teach with that beard. I always forget that he's a teacher.
Well,
is he really though? Like, is he still like?
Or was a teacher at some point? I don't know. They still refer to his status being a teacher.
All that I want for him coming up to going into season 40 is I want him to have another midlife crisis and start hooking up with a girl from Era 4 again, like he did with Brittany in Final Reckoning and Vendettas.
I don't like that, only because that means like it's gonna be Michelle.
Olivia.
You make a point.
It'd be weird if it was Jenny West. I don't know if she's still dating anyone.
She's like, I thought she was like engaged. So I know engaged ain't married, and even if you're married, doesn't mean anything on the challenge. But I feel like she's actually someone who would be like committed to her partner.
No, agreed. She wouldn't be my first.
It's Casey, everyone. He's hooking up with Casey.
I mean, between the two, Olivia and Michelle, I think it would be Olivia, right?
Put in the chat. Who do you think Brad will hook up with in his second midlife crisis?
I mean, you're not wrong. I mean, who do you guys think?
I'm not saying that it's going to happen. I'm just
he's hooking up with his pre-workout and like beard oil and Steve's hand.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it wouldn't even be Era 4. I'm trying to think. It's clearly, I don't know. Get back to
Tori's always single.
Tori's hooking up with at least 2 people this season if she's around the halfway, like past the halfway mark.
Sure.
She's good for at least 2.
Yeah, it'll be no one from Gen 1 or Gen 2.
No, it's not going to be 1. 2, I wouldn't think, because it's obviously not Cara. It's not going to be Laurel. I can't imagine it'd be Aviv. Then you'd have Kellyanne and Emily left, which it wouldn't make sense for either of those two either.
Mm-mm.
They've known each other for far too long now.
Yeah.
Now you're getting me hyped for 40, though. This is the problem.
I mean, they did wrap up filming, and spoilers are out there, so protect yourselves, everyone. Yeah, but it looks like season 40 will be airing mid-August.
There you go.
Yeah, I've stayed off. Alex, you're the one that sent me, the screenshot showing that it wrapped up. I've stayed off Twitter ever since. I was like, I've gotten spoiled way too many times there. It's not happening again.
Yep. Don't do it.
All right. So getting back to the challenge, let's see. We have Ryan and Laurel that are out first in Heat 2, and then Adam and Avery. They're the next ones eliminated. So moving on to the final, it's going to be Leroy and Veronica, Jay and Nicole.
Can we speak on this real quick?
Go for it.
Spoiler alert. Leroy and Veronica win. Let's talk about why Veronica is a bad player. Because she's spending all this time talking about how she does not want to win this one. More importantly, she doesn't want Leroy to win this one because it will impact her potential allies. So she decides, because of her ego, that she needs to win this daily with Leroy because she went to Berkeley. And it instantly follows up with one of her main allies going home. And the other one in elimination.
Yeah, but are you going to complain about that because it's a ding against Veronica? And I know how you are on Veronica this season. And
no, it is a ding on her because look, I want to see people play well.
And I don't know the answer for sure. How it was edited and looking at it, I feel like she did know the answer. We saw Leroy.
Oh, she obviously knew the answer.
The tallest building. But I mean, unless she was just to throw out the wrong ahead of time, which she could have. We've seen others do in the past. Just say, oh, no, it's in England or something like that.
She could just said Dutch.
Shout out to Bananas.
She could have just said it. She could have just said, like, oh, it's in Chicago. The Sears Tower. And then be wrong, like, whoops.
Leroy would have went with it too. He'd be like, oh, I take your word for it. Like, you know what you're talking about. And I think he would have let her answer.
Yeah. Because, like, it's not even because I find it all very weird and, like, twisty here of, like, who wants to win, who doesn't want to win, and why they don't want to or want to. It's like, because her whole thing for what saved her, quote unquote, was the fact that she's so anti-Kara that wouldn't she want to win so that there's a potential for Leroy to go down into elimination and take Kara's star. Because the other options, Jay wouldn't have done that if he went down and won and eliminate. Like, the only person where it made sense was her and Leroy winning so that they could take that shot against Kara indirectly.
How much would it have really changed, though, like the voting wise? Do you think Brad is saved? If she's, because in this point you're saying that it's Derek and Tina.
So. I think if she's down there, she's not saying Brad. So she's forced to say Ryan there because she's not going to do what, and she probably controls Tina a little more in how to vote instead of Tina once again being horrible at voting and like indirectly screwing her friends for the second time.
Never change Tina.
Never change Tina.
So good.
No, it's like her professionals are so great about it. It's like, I need to read a book. Any book.
Right. Tina's the type of person that you just don't want in the middle group whatsoever because you have no idea how it's going to unfold because she can be convinced to do something or she just does her own thing and doesn't listen to what anyone else wants to do.
Yeah, because like realistically though, going back to our main point, if Veronica didn't want to win, she had all the power in the world to ensure that they didn't.
Mm-hmm.
But she chose not to for whatever, not looking bad in front of Leroy. I don't know. But
I don't know. I mean, maybe she just wanted to say she won a daily because I don't know when's the last time she was able
congratulations, you won the daily that has no implication on how well you could actually do in a final.
Also, if you're her, I feel like the closer you get to the end, is she just going to be protected because people are going to want her in the final?
Yeah.
I would.
Yeah.
I'd want her in the final, yeah.
I would absolutely want her in the, like Brandon said it on a Zach Nichols podcast, I believe, where he was like, yeah, like once Victoria gets it, all of us are just like, well, we're not going to take her star. Like we want to run against her. So she's sort of like, she's in the spot that Jasmine thought she was going to be in. Where like I got my thing and because of my, whereas Jasmine was like, because of my connections, I won't get targeted. Veronica's more in the sense of a lot of people looking at her as an easy beat. So why would you take the star away from them? Unless you, like, the only way I see it happening is in a world where Leroy wins an elimination and has to take a star from someone while still owning his, and Kara isn't available to be taken. And then he just takes someone else's star to ensure that Cam gets one.
Payback for Dirty Third? No. Was that Dirty Third? No, that was Brittany. No, it was Veronica.
Well,
Sorry.
it was
thinking out loud.
It was Brittany throwing her vote, allowing Veronica to do what she wanted to do.
Yeah. A little payback.
Those burn votes
made for the stupidity of other people, not herself, by the way.
Yes, it is. So as we alluded to, Veronica and Leroy win. Leroy does give a confessional before going to break, saying that if he sees an elimination he likes, he is going to go down there to steal a star for Cam, and it would be Kara's. We go back to the house where we have another really weird segment. First, Ryan does give a cheers to the rest of the house. They're eating pizza for
showing his good social game.
Yeah.
How easy it's been to stay sober in the challenge house with those guys.
where Ace decides that he's going to tell his little challenge lore tale of how he's been holding on to his star, but there's going to be a battle for it back between Brad and Adam.
I got very concerned at the beginning of this where I thought he was about to do like some scripture. Like not challenge gods, but talking about God. And I was like, oh God, this is not what I came to the challenge to watch.
That may have actually gone over better than what he did.
Oh, it absolutely would have. But I'm happy
As a viewer,
he did what he did, because that's the most entertaining Ace will ever be.
I know, Lauren, I was talking about in the house, not as a viewer.
As a viewer, no. I loved it, but I had to wait a little bit to see the direction it was going in, because at first I was taking pause because you just didn't know how it was going to end. And then when you heard the two names and all of that, it came full circle, which was fine.
See, and you know what? They did a good swerve in the next time on last week, because they made it look like it was going to be something Leroy or Cam said that pissed off Brad.
Mm-hmm.
And then they really swerve us when Ace Hardware Store comes up with this great story to essentially be like, I'm this martyr who's going to let either one of these two strong knights take my star from me.
He's there though. You know what I mean? He still provides.
Is he there?
He's there.
I don't know if he knows where he is.
That is fair. I think there could be fantasy going on.
He is literally the challenge version of jury duty, where I just feel like but he's not like the main character. He's like one of the people who's paid to be this weird actor who has no clue what's going on.
But it works. Does it? I think it still works. Yes, because you at least get the bits from it. I mean, that's what made Brad blow up and everything. Without that, you don't have the Brad blow up. You know what I mean?
But Brad's blow up isn't even entertaining, because he's doing exactly what Ace is like volunteering him to do. Like Ace is like, please take my star. And he's so heated. He goes to Avery like, you go tell him that when I win, I'm taking his star. Like completely missing the point.
Oh, still, right? Him missing the point.
I'm waiting, because I think even if he somehow, say we get to the last daily, Ace somehow wins. How does it happen? Who knows? Maybe Kara just knocks him out and drags him, and they end up winning. And I think TJ could even say, this is your last chance to get a star. Ace, you don't have one. Are you coming down? I could see him being like, nah, I'm good. Like, it's been fun, but
yes.
I can see that, and I'd be so mad. I'd be so mad. So I'm like, there's other people you could have called to be on this season. Because like characters are characters, and I love a good character. But ultimately, I want a character who also is there to win the game.
I think he needed someone else to kind of play off of other than Kara, just simply because we had the storyline from the very beginning that Kara's back is against the wall. So that isn't really someone who Ace can play off against like throughout the rest of the season. And I'm not saying if there was like someone else, if it would have been better, potentially, maybe. I don't know.
I can tell you what could have made this better with Ace. You have a bunch of montages throughout the season of every single time he falls asleep, Letarian pops out and starts using him as a plunger.
I mean, and then Steve puts his hands on the pole and just starts giving it a hand job.
Yes.
Perfect.
I think there we go.
We just create only on this podcast where we can make fanfic.
It's something, but agreed. Would make it more
firmly grasped Ace in his hands.
Perfect.
So go ahead, Lauren.
I was just gonna say, I still think every season that we see production is still going to have those filler people where they're not intending them to be there as long as they end up being there, which is in the case of this season, Ace and Flora. They're expecting them to go home a little bit earlier because you want to see your people that you like go much further in the game, but sometimes it doesn't pan out that way. And that's what we saw. We saw some of the earlier characters that we enjoy quite more often than these two, and it just didn't work.
Yeah, you know who I miss? I miss the challenge version of Gronk. I miss Tony.
Yeah, exactly. I think Tony's still there. I think that changed the entire game by Tony going home early, because he, in my opinion, was in his prime. I thought he was going to compete well. I know he would go into elimination if he had to. He was there for the money, for the win. So it was disappointing.
Unfortunately, I think he finds himself in this specific elimination and loses unless he's against Brad. In which case, this challenge goes for 2 hours because they both just keep hitting the start button.
Oh, it would bring me back to the soccer situation. What was it? Nelson and Corey. Yeah.
The flaming soccer ball, yes.
Yes, that type of painful.
It was a rough one. We already hit on Brad getting mad at Ace. Yeah, don't really need to dive into that more.
From there straight into the
Adam pitches that he wants to be thrown in. I think is,
and he's also like, I would love for Brad to be the other person who wants to go in, but I don't think he wants to.
Yeah, whatever. And Ryan's nervous with Tina, Jay, and Nicole that he may end up going down rather than Brad. But yeah, this gets us to nominations. Adam's, unanimously picked across the board. And then we see, Kara votes Brad, which I didn't really see coming.
But she explains it well. And, she's not doing this as, how Brandon and Jasmine took the shot at her. Mm-hmm. So it's there's levels to this, because a lot of people are going to probably come out here and be like, oh, Kara's a hypocrite because she reacted this way when the lifelong friends betrayed her, but she can vote out Brad. And I'm like, but her context is in full, this is people that I need in a final, and Brad's obviously not in the headspace for this game. So as much as I love him as a friend, I'm going to need to vote him in, which is very different than I'm voting you in, even though we are friends, because 1, we haven't talked in 8 years, and 2, you will beat everyone in a final. Her context is I need someone who will be able to help me during the final, and Brad's not going to be able to help me.
Yeah, because you can pair up in the final with people for different legs, and also
they assuredly will. Even though one person wins, there's definitely going to do 3 different stations where each gender is partnered with the other genders, and then the next day, the winner of those gets a 30-second head start up the mountain.
Sure, yeah, but when
we know this to be true.
Yeah, when you get down to the nitty-gritty, I mean, she's right. If you're looking at the next daily, I don't want him as my partner. If I have to partner with him, I could end up in the bottom, having to go into an elimination. At this point, Kara wants to keep winning if she can, because if you win, you're safe. No one can take your star, no matter who goes into the elimination. And as the numbers continue to dwindle, that first place spot is everything.
Oh, absolutely. Especially when you are in a situation where she was today, where in a different elimination, Leroy probably does put himself down there, even against Brad or Adam. If it was that, the fireman's pole challenge, I don't think it did not matter who was down there. Leroy would have said yes, 1 in 30 seconds, and
we can't give him that for a third time. Let's calm down.
I mean, we could.
But what's the point? Leroy wins. I think it's already been established that just Leroy wins that elimination.
Fine. But anyway, we do get to the spot where Tina could tie this up. And in one sense, I'm like, why not? Because if anyone gets punished, it's the guys that are in the middle. The girls aren't touchable here. If you tie it up because you don't want Brad to go down there, and you just said, oh, I could see myself pairing up with Brad in the next round, then just vote for Ryan. Because, you voting for Steve because you don't want to make a decision makes a decision.
Well, it still puts Because if her not voting, the final vote, it all came down to Ace because it was tied up when it came to Ace.
But in reality, Ace was always going to do. He called his shot with his stupid ass story.
No. He voted for Brad because one time he wasn't feeling well and Ryan gave him snacks. So that's why.
No, and I believe both things to be true.
So good.
One time Ryan flipped a Cheeto down a flight of stairs for me, and with that I said I owed him my life.
Yeah. So Ace chooses Brad.
I need to know how the producers don't react to hearing this dude just talk and be like, I don't know if I'm supposed to laugh, and if I'm laughing, I'm definitely laughing at him, not with him. But like, it just comes off so incredulous to me that I'm just like, I can't believe what it is that I'm hearing right now. It's so against like the last 25 seasons of the challenge. It feels like it's very much like season 1 of it all, like so old school of reality show of being like, well, this guy
based
gave me
off of
food.
performance or
The
something
guy
like that.
gave me food this one time, and because of that, he's my blood brother. Yeah. And I said I would do anything in my power to protect this man who gave me a goldfish.
Ace is he's something. He's there.
He's a hard
He is. He's still there, and he might still continue to be there. We don't know.
We don't know. This will take us to the elimination. We see it's the elimination from that would have been
the Janelle and Tina
versus Tina,
which Janelle would have won.
Janelle would have won.
Of course.
But it's called cheat code. There's 2 giant video game controllers. You run over, you reveal the code. You have to go back to your controller, enter it all with your feet. First to get it done wins. And they asked Leroy first if he wants to come down here, and he goes, "Oh, hell no." Which,
like, I'm not even playing. I'm not even going to drag this out. No, it's a no. Have fun, you two. No. TJ,
that would have been terrible. Terrible elimination.
So I have 2 questions here. By them bringing this elimination back, are we going to see other eliminations pop back? Or I guess technically this is 3 questions. But we see other eliminations come back around and there are repeats. Do they just want to do this one? In which case, what elimination do we lose out on? Or 3, they knew Leroy wanted to take Kara's star, so they pulled an audible. They're like, we're going to do a memory comp so that Leroy does not go down.
I'll let you go first, Dan.
I don't think we're seeing repeat eliminations. Like, I don't think we're going to see something we already saw. I believe they just wanted to see this one. Hopefully what this got rid of is another dumb one like the throwing star. Obviously they didn't replace that, but I don't know. I feel like there's plenty of options out there of random chance. We can get rid of that. And no, I don't think it was just to keep Kara safe. I think they just wanted to use it again, and they figured this would be a decent spot for it. But just one man's guess.
See, I'm not going to say that they rigged stuff and everything because, you know, game show laws and all that. But, like, in a world where you could just play it as it goes, if I'm production, I absolutely want to do everything in my power to keep Kara there as long as possible with a star because that's driving the story. And it's like, we are just past the halfway point. Like, we still have X amount of eliminations left. We can't lose this story because I feel like they're seeing this is our main thing that like everything else bridges around. Like the main through line is Kara has a star. She's against Cam and Leroy and company, and they're after her star specifically. And how is Kara going to go through each round, navigating and allowing herself to maintain that star despite it all? Like that's the through line that they're having. And if there's any possible way that they're like, well, we didn't get to use this challenge, and this other one we had was going to be pole wrestle, just throwing one out there. I would much rather us push that in and delay this opportunity to take Kara's star, which can still happen. But I want to delay it so that we can still keep this main storyline. Because if we lose that, then we have to focus more on the Laurel and Nicole relationship. And yes.
So
Well, we'll get there.
I was gonna say I'm gonna let Lauren answer, but my only pushback on that is simply I get that they want to keep Kara there because that's their main storyline. But her going into an elimination, I don't think it's something that they don't want to see happen. Like her needing to go back down there, because the more that Kara has to go down to get her star back, then she has revenge on her mind, or she's back down in elimination. And if she wins again, if Kara wins 1 or 2 more eliminations, that lore of her just grows more and more into what she used to be, which is what pushes this story in this season to the next level.
Okay.
But go ahead, Lauren.
Going off of that, Dan, though, you also could see her fighting through a scenario where she could get blocked from going into an elimination, because say she doesn't win or she's not in the middle group, you could have someone such as a Cam doing what Kara did to her, blocking her, and then maybe running out of time. So seeing how she navigates that component and those different pieces, having to politic with these particular people. So that could be entertaining in a sense as well. But going back to the elimination, I think they have the structure. So they said, we're just going to run it up on this one because this is an equalizer elimination. It really is. Anyone can win it technically, whereas some other ones you see it's favored over this person or over the other. So I did like the elimination. I was a fan of it.
No, I like the elimination. I like that you had the ability, because at first I misunderstood it and I thought they would have to do the full chain. I'm like, oh, we're gonna be here forever.
That's what I thought too.
And then once I hear Adam go like, oh no, yeah, so I'm just gonna do 2 to 3 at a time and just keep going. I'm like, oh, okay, didn't realize we could do that. Smart. I like it. But in the grand scheme of things, just like large aspect, because like the elimination is what it is. We'll get to it. I feel though, in a world where they get Kara to take her star, like the way that some of these people should be playing isn't necessarily to block her out, which like is a strategy, but by blocking your opponent out, it also allows them another round to potentially win and then put themselves in. I feel if y'all want to talk your talk, then you vote her in, and then one of you strong-ass people go down there and take her out yourselves instead of letting her linger in the house and potentially sneak one in. Because you're playing the inevitable with this, because it's either it allows your likelihood of going down to be higher as opposed to some of the weaker players, and allows Kara to win one where a Flora ends up down in elimination, and then she's like, yeah, put me down there. I don't even need to hear what the elimination is. Put me down. I'm winning.
Who do you think would actually have the stones
Cam.
to call Kara out? I don't think Cam would do it right now.
I think Cam actually would. She has not been in the position to do that to Kara specifically. The ones that she was like she's had power in, I think was either a guy's day for one. It was a guy's day for one of them, I believe, and a girl's day for the other. And she chose not to do the girls' one. I forget what the elimination was. It's been weeks. Apologies there. But it's all about timing in that. Oh, it was when it was Kara versus Rachel. But like at that point, her motive was, I just want one of those two out and hoping that Rachel wins there. So I could see her in a situation where, say it was Kara and Flora down there and it was whatever competition, I could see Cam be like, nope, yep, I'm going down there. Don't even need the star. I just need to be the one to take you out because no one else can. Like I could see that driving it. I could see Laurel in doing it a la Jordan of just like, doesn't matter what it is. Like she just goes down there in a full rage, but then probably loses because she's too focused on being angry than actually competing.
Kara's never beat Laurel in elimination.
Yeah, but also this is a different Laurel.
Agreed. I'm just saying that's
like, and like Laurel's a great player. Like I don't want this to be clipped down and be like, oh, see that we're all talking shit on Laurel and her ability. I'm like, she's a very capable player, but we have seen, especially in the recent seasons, she can get into her own head, especially in elimination, and it costs her wins. She has lost, like, I'm pretty sure she's lost like 3 of the last 4 eliminations she's been in. One as a mercenary against Raven. Which
so
was
she has, since she lost to Camilla in Invasions, she won her mercenary in Vendettas.
Yeah.
And I think she won one in
War of the Worlds.
Loses in War of the Worlds. You brought up her second mercenary, she loses, and then what? In Ride or Die said she go 1-1. I believe her and Jack win one and lose the next.
Okay, so 3 of the last 5.
Yeah.
3 of the last 5.
Yeah.
Since
which prior to that,
losing her record.
Which prior to that she hadn't lost, so she definitely is downward. I could see Laurel doing it. I also think, speaking of false bravado, Nicole just thinking that she's the shit to try to go down to take out Cara.
But the issue is
she doesn't need to.
No,
right
but
now.
your question was, I felt I was taking the context of regardless of what the elimination is, they put themselves down there to go against her. Nicole will not go down there unless she sees like a pole down there. Something that's strictly physical and doesn't require any type of thinking.
Right, because I think Cara, if it's the rope one again, Cara gives her a run for her money on that one.
I think Cara wins.
I think
that's what I mean. I just,
I'm not saying like Cara's perfect. Like I'm a big Cara fan. This isn't a shocker to anyone. I think she's beatable. She's shown that she's beatable. But I feel like given a lot of eliminations require that like willpower, I feel like she outweighs a lot of the challenge franchise in terms of that just like tenacity and the will and desire to win. So especially in something physical that requires endurance and just outlasting someone, I'm hard pressed to find many people who will outlast her.
No, I mean, Cara's biggest problem has always been when she gets in her own head. But I feel like the end puzzles, but that's because she gets in her own head about it. And I think when she's more back against the wall, she doesn't get in her own head as often as if she's just kind of cruising throughout a challenge. So I don't think she's likely to get in her own head. But if you throw a puzzle at her and she notices she's starting to get behind early on, like to a cam or something like that, I could see the spiral happening from there.
She's always good as the underdog. We've seen it time and time again. That's where she performs at her best. But going back to Laurel's an awesome competitor. I really believe so. But she's also somewhat distracted this season as well. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Somewhat.
But I'm
Take off your
more
pants.
than somewhat, but still.
Take off your pants and go to the sauna.
All right, more than somewhat distracted, but I was still saying the distraction is there is what my point is here. And I think she would maybe get in her own head. And could you imagine a Laurel versus Nicole elimination? Like, yes, we're not going to see that happen, but I would love to see it happen.
See, the one thing I'm always scared about there, do we just get another version of Casey and Nany? But in the reverse, where the Nany gives up for Casey because she knows Casey has a better chance of winning if Casey does that. But you have this situation where Laurel gives up because Nicole needs this win.
I don't think Laurel could do it. I think Laurel's too much of a competitor to do something like that. Nany does not. That didn't surprise me. But Laurel, I mean, if she's like, this is for sure how I get her back, like letting her move forward, maybe that runs through her mind. But she's just such a big competitor. I don't know.
I don't even think it's like for like wanting it to all come together. Like obviously that's part of her thing here without her saying it or admitting it. We know. And we also know the aftermath of all this. But I could just see her in this spot where she's just like, I don't want to do this, so I'm not going to go as hard. Whereas Nicole's going to be like, no, I'm going to give you everything that I got and then some. And because like law becomes more half-assing the elimination, Nicole wins. Unless it's something with memory, in which case she'll probably just narrowly win because Nicole can't think.
What do you think, Dan?
I don't think we're going to see it.
I don't think
I don't think we're going to see it. If we are, I don't think. I could see Laurel definitely not going as hard as what she normally does because of it. I don't think she flat out just gives up and gives it to Nicole. I think by her only going to maybe like 75%, depending upon what the elimination is, it leaves the door open. But Nicole's also very prone to Nicole things and could very easily screw that up as well.
And you know what? The other thing I'm not factoring is Nicole could also just injure herself.
That's brutal.
I mean, if we were putting betting odds that somehow either right before the final or during the final, Nicole has to be medically removed from the game, like they're highly favorable. Like it's you would lose money putting a bet down. Like it's not worth the bet.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's quite possible.
But anyway, let's talk about the elimination. I've put us on a sidetrack for way too long.
And Adam beats Brad.
Well, can we just talk about Brad here? Like Brad looked like he was doing decent. He was doing it in bigger bunches, but you have like Nicole and like Cara and all these people like pointing out like, wait, why does he keep pressing the start and enter button? Why is he continuing to do this?
It doesn't surprise me that Brad would be bad at video games because Brad seems like the guy that maybe he never played video games, but if he did, that man's broken a controller before by throwing it 100%.
Oh, he's definitely a rage quitter.
Yeah.
Like he'll still play the game all the way through, but like right at the last second when you know he's lost, breaks the controller.
And maybe the TV by throwing the controller at the TV, break 2 for 1.
It's quite possible.
But you know, I would like to say it's just the beard getting in his way. Like it again, it looks bad, folks. I'm going to continue to say it until something different is on his face.
Well, in 2032, we know what Alex will be talking about.
Still, that beard being even longer.
It's not going anywhere. At this point, he's this committed to it. There's no way.
But like,
unless
he wins his championship.
No. Possible, but I wasn't even going there. I was going to say Midlife Crisis #2 hookup in season 40 is really against it. And she's like, Brad, this will only happen if you shave off your beard. I can see it then.
Or during the hookup, Marie comes in a surprise appearance just to throw another hot pizza on top of him.
No,
and
she
it
just
gets
goes
into
in
the
with
beard.
the razor.
And it gets into the beard. And like it's not able to be removed unless he shaves it off. Marie, we're counting on you. We're counting on you here to make a surprise appearance in what was it? Croatia again? Or I forget where. Vietnam. You're going to Vietnam. Well, we'll find people to pay for your travels.
Could you imagine if bubblegum got stuck in there? Like,
I'm sure he doesn't chew bubblegum for that exact reason.
But I'm just saying that's a game changer right there if that were to happen.
But then you could just put a bunch of peanut butter on it. As the old trick of putting peanut butter in to loosen the gum.
But Brad definitely has rules with people around him being like, whoa, watch out for my beard when you have that. Like insert sicky substance hand job joke here. But you know,
yep,
he has his rules.
Yep. That would become a little too starchy though.
Indeed. Sorry, you were taking us in the direction, Alex.
No, so Adam wins. I like Adam's approach to this, where he essentially just like tunes everything out, and he's like, I don't care what the peanut gallery is saying, if they're saying anything. I don't care what Brad is doing. I can't go away from the path that I'm choosing right now. Which for this type of elimination, I very much respect. I love that from a competitor where it's just like, I'm not going to let the pressure of it get to me, because if I try to switch up at this point, I will make a mistake. And so I think it was in that sense, it's a very impressive win from Adam. Not in the sense of like, oh, he just completely whooped Brad's ass in it, but just like, I like the poise that he had in it.
To be fair, if it was going until you're complete, Adam probably did whoop his ass, because I think Brad would still be there.
Well, yes, but
it wasn't a dominant fashion. I understand.
Yeah, it wasn't like, oh, given a different situation, he would have been anyone else there too, because we just don't know. But he did the strategy that he felt would give him the best chance to be correct at the end. And sometimes that's all you need to do in elimination. You don't have to hype yourself up. You don't need to get in your own head. Sometimes just keep the path. Is it a slower path? Yes. Does it guarantee me that I'll be right at the end? Yes. Yes, Duffy. But it's then his time to pull a star, and he does take it from their white knight, Ace. Even though there is a part of me that would have found it very funny if he took it from Steve. Be like, this is what you get for not giving me my star in the first place. You can go grab it from Ace now.
That would have been good. That would have. But Ace was expecting it, obviously.
No, because then if that happened, we would have gotten another hand job joke from Steve, where he just goes like, I've been blue balled.
I honestly don't think that Adam took offense to it. Simply
this
because
is why
I think
your
looking
friends,
at it,
friends don't give friends hand jobs, because then they take your star.
Don't tell Steve that. I'm pretty sure he's made a living doing that.
Anyway, sorry, I cut you off. I just had my bits. I needed to do it.
I don't even know where I was going. Did you have the direction you were going, Lauren? I'm lost.
Just listening to the hand jobs. That's about it. I was waiting for all the plugs, all the jokes to get in, because we have to get all of that off our chest. You know?
Haven't man.
Depends where you aim.
Fair.
There we go. Anyway, that does wrap it up. But we have a new segment. We have a new segment before we go off. Something I like to do now. It's a blind ranking. 1 through 5. Dan and Lauren do not know the topic. They do not know the players. Okay. But I will be giving them a topic.
I was going to say, the other thing that you can also do is, I don't have the comment section up. So if you want, you can throw it in the public. That way they can see it. I don't have it up. My hands are up. I won't switch to see. I'll play the game. But figure that way.
I'm not playing it anywhere.
I'm just keeping Alex honest to make sure he doesn't cheat, you know?
Look, I have my 5 names. I have my 5 names. And the category, and you guys have to agree on the placements before I introduce the next player.
So we're doing it joint together.
Yes, together. You're doing it together.
All right.
So the category is life on the line. You need this person to win elimination to keep you alive.
Male and female?
Yeah, it's going to be both.
Okay.
List of 5.
List of 5.
Perfect.
All right.
My first person is Cara Maria.
What do you think, Lauren? I think she's a good option, but I mean, she isn't.
I think middle of the road, right?
Yeah, I mean, her career probably elimination record is probably around like that. Probably 2/3, like the 66% would be my guess. Is that if she's been in 30, she'd probably be like a 20-10 record.
Like spot 3, I was thinking.
A 3 works for me. Let's lock her into 3.
All right, locked into 3.
Okay, Cara's in at 3.
The next, a bunch of dog shit after this.
At least you still have a little bit of a buffer.
Hey, that's the fun of this game. You never know what name I'm going to say. Second person is Landon.
Landon's up there. He only
I do like Landon.
He only has one elimination loss to Brad. To be fair, it was a different era, those eliminations. They were a lot more carny type games outside of, I guess, his first 2 seasons. His last 2, I mean, winning in Fresh Meat 2, all those eliminations in Duel 2, like they were. He's 1 or 2. Like I'll let you make the decision.
Ooh. I was going to say 2. He's obviously above Kara for sure. But my only concern is, are we going to get anyone better than Landon?
Let's lock him into 2.
Let's go to 2. Okay. We'll lock him in 2.
Okay. Third is Casey.
I don't think she can be 1.
No, she can't. I
don't think she's bad enough to be 5. I would put her at 4.
4.
But
yep.
if you're thinking you want to save that and you want to go lower, I'm not going to be mad about it.
I'm not going number 1 there. I
definitely not.
But I also don't necessarily want to gamble on the last person for number 1 either. So I think
you still have 2 more people after this.
That's my thing. So I think we're safe putting her at 4 here.
All right, so we have 2 left. One's going at 1. One's going at 5.
Going at 5. Yep.
I already know what Alex is going to do, and it pisses me off just thinking about it right now.
You don't know what I'm going to do.
I'm ready.
Okay. Next person, Anissa.
No, 5.
It's a no-brainer. Oh, I'm so scared for the last one.
Are you locking in 5?
2. Yeah, I will not let Anissa lead my leaderboard in this.
She has, especially if we're talking about her first 10 seasons, that's where she got all of her wins. It had nothing to do with her last 15.
Yeah, I can't justify. I'm scared for the last one, but for me personally, it doesn't get much worse for me when it comes to Anissa for elimination. Wanting that person elimination. It could be worse, but I'm hoping we did okay here.
Well, let's see where Alex, because now if you were
I typed a name in the private chat. The only thing I will do is press enter.
Okay.
I want to know what Dan and you think the 5th name is that I've been planning this whole time.
I was wrong by you going to Anissa. I thought for sure you were going to put in just a beast like a Wes or something like that first, and you were going to force me to. I thought you were going to force the hand for number 1, and then I'm always paranoid that you're going to give me Jordan last because he goes to number 5. Because I've said it on this podcast, my life's on the line. I'm picking one person. Jordan's my pick.
Okay. Well, you picked right because the last person is Jordan.
Heck yeah. Let's go.
I will say before I did this, my 5th person was either going to be Jordan or Danny J.
Unironically, I probably just would have overruled Lauren and been like, he's number 1. I'm sorry. I'll take the L on this one. But
and then you see Jordan come in as our number 5 and we're like, ooh.
No, I think we did pretty good going.
We did good.
What we did, yeah. Jordan, Landon,
Kara, Casey, and Nisa. It's a very good list.
We did awesome on this one. I'm looking forward to the next one because these are good.
Oh, we're gonna do awful next week, Lauren. I think we just used all of our luck to get one right.
Over him, he's processing it. How do I plan their demise?
We'll have
I got ideas, but
it'll be who's gonna win the challenge? We'll end up having CT or Bananas at 5th. Damn it.
Right.
Yeah, but if you at home want to give me ideas of topics to give these people for blind rankings at the end of this podcast, put in the YouTube comments where you should like and subscribe. You can even give it as a comment wherever you listen to us on our if you listen to us in podcast form and give us a 5-star while you're doing that. And best way to support us is becoming a patron at realitypatron.com. That's where you'll get the weekly Q&A and allegedly, there's a lot more things on the books coming up in the near future. So stay tuned for that. But try it for a month. If you don't like the experience, Johnny will give you your money back. We don't hold hostages here. And looking forward into the future, we still have weekly podcasts for The GOAT with Bryce, Wendell, and Derek Frazier from Big Brother 23. We will be wrapping up the finale of Survivor 46 with Dan and myself covering that immediately after the episode, and Matt Bischoff doing one later in the week when he is back from his other life stuff that he's doing right now. And as always, we'll be here talking to Challenge All-Stars 4. And that wraps up everything we're doing here, Dan.
It does. Any final thoughts from either of you?
Shave the beard, Brad.
Shave the beard. Hashtag shave the beard.
Shave the beard, or I'll find my way to upstate Michigan and do it myself.
There you go. No, looking forward to it again next week. It was awesome. Good to see you both as always, and love me some Challenge All-Stars.
I'm just out here looking for more handjob Steves. But until next week, we will see y'all then.